My microphone was muted as I was sitting here trying to say no difficulties. Well, there's the first difficulty. I was going to say two shows, not 2 weeks in a row, because I keep taking weeks off. Stuff keeps happening. We'll get into that. I was going to say, 2 shows in a row with no difficulties. My microphone was muted. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, John, the Creative Blue Collar Guy. This is another edition of Incredibly Late to the Party News. And goodness gracious, once again, we've got so many different stories to go over. I don't even know where to start. We're only going to get to a handful of them. We'll see how long I want to sit here and rant and see maybe if we get some more people tuning in, want to rant along with me, or even some people that want to push back. I keep harping a lot about talking about, Charlie Kirk and the recent events that we're all aware of, and that kind of pushed me to start this thing back up again, but now maybe not shy away from the difficult topics too much. But if there's ever anyone who accidentally clicks on the thumbnail and pops in here and is in the chat and thinks that I'm completely full of it and everything that I'm saying is nonsense and I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about, push back. Say it in the chat. I want to hear it. I want to hear from people that agree with me. I want to hear from people that don't agree with me. Conversation might actually be interesting if there's people that don't agree with whatever I'm saying. Just, in the chat talking trash. So I welcome it. I bring it on. But we're back. It's Monday. I think it's Monday. All I do every week is just try to make it to the weekend. And then the weekend flies by. And then before we know it, it's Monday again. And here we are. But I do look forward to this. It is fun. Basically, I get to come on here and just rant. I get it all out of my system, and hopefully, some people pop into the chat who want to be part of the conversation. Maybe not. That's okay too. But yeah, took last week off. I would say long story short, but I could tell the long version. I got time to kill. So moved into a new place back in June. So I've been there through June, July, August, September, October. 4 months, a little over 4 months now. Probably about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, saw what I thought looked like termites in the house. Sent a picture to the owner who lives out of state. And he said, "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to have that done. Let me get back to you on that, whatever." All of a sudden just schedules it. It's going to have the place tented. I got to get out for 3 to 4 days. Was lucky enough to have some very gracious friends who have a very nice and very new RV that I was able to stay in and basically camp for a weekend. And only to come back and find out that so I'm in like an ADU, like a granny flat on somebody else's property. The yard and everything's all fenced off. It's pretty private. It's pretty separated. But there's a main house, and then there's kind of like the granny flat, what I live in. Well, after being gone all weekend, thinking that oh well, my place is getting tented, getting fumigated for termites, I came back to find out that they only tented the main house and not the granny flat. Cool. Okay. So back and forth with the owner and the fumigation company trying to find out what's going on with that. Oh, there's a miscommunication. We didn't realize we were supposed to do the granny flat. Okay, fine, whatever. So now going through the process to had somebody come out and inspect the property this morning, because it turns out the initial picture that I sent to the owner was actually an ant. I am not used to seeing ants with wings. I always thought that was maybe just like the one, like the queen or whatever it was of wherever, and the rest of them, large and small. I've seen ants of all different sizes, but I just didn't think that you would see like multiple large ants out and about with wings. But yeah, came to find out a couple of telltale signs when it's a termite, when it's an ant. I don't know these things. So somebody came out and inspected and said, yeah, those are ants. There's some sign of possible subterranean termites in the sort of garage storage unit shed thing, but they're saying maybe they can do some exterior treatment or something. So waiting to see if I'm going to have to basically move out of my place for another 3 to 4 days again while they fumigate, because they didn't do it the first time. So anyways, last Monday, was a long weekend camping in somebody else's RV. Went to a concert Saturday night, went and saw the Dead South. Absolutely phenomenal show. It was awesome. It was great. And then Sunday afternoon, I had a gig at a winery. So it was a busy weekend amongst all the chaos. And when Monday rolled around and I was able to come home, went to work, managed to make it to the gym, and was just like, I got nothing. I'm zapped. I'm gassed. So no show last week, but we're back. We've got all sorts of new stupid things to talk about. And just as my friend to the north, Devin, way up there in Canada, or as we like to say, in North America, or maybe hopefully someday North America. Everybody's retarded and people are stupid is what a lot of things boil down to. We had the No Kings protests over the weekend. Yay! You guys did it. I woke up Sunday morning and we still don't have a king. Congratulations. We did it. I don't really know what else to say. It's just it amazes me. This is at least the second time now that we've had like a round of No Kings protests, but apparently by people who don't understand how voting works, and they know we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. apparently nobody paid attention in high school. I'm not gonna quite get into the protest yet, though. That's just you did it, guys. Congratulations. America still does not have a king. Because if we did, you wouldn't be allowed to freely and peacefully protest a king. Let that one sink in for a minute. And I'm going to reiterate that later. But, for now.
And that's all I have to say about that.
We're going to get back into the protest later because, wow, it's dumb. But in the music world, which really is my area of expertise, when I talk about current events and politics and stuff, I'm just a monkey with a webcam. I am not that well read. I am not that well educated beyond high school and a couple of niche college classes here and there that have absolutely nothing to do with anything political or current event or whatever. I don't really read much. I read articles, like news articles and stuff, but I don't like read books and stuff. Just because, I don't know. And
you know what the worst part of all is? I never learned to read.
It's just one of those things. I don't know. Like, I would really like to be a book person that just like comes home, curls up on the couch with a book and just relaxes. But it's like that doesn't help me unwind. That doesn't relax me. Like, reading a book feels like work. And when I've already worked all day long and everything else, it's up. It just like I just shut my brain off. Either just listen to some music, watch a movie, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, the music world, we've had some, what I think, my personal opinion, my humble opinion, some pretty big losses in the music world over the past week. I will go with Yahoo, you stupid. No, that's just US Today. Anyways, this one I think is probably a bigger deal to more people. Me, not so much, but it's still sad. Still always tragic. We lost a founding member of KISS. Now, not trying to take away from the fact that this guy died. I mean, that's sad no matter what. It's tragic. Don't get me wrong. But just again, full disclosure, I always like to be very upfront and transparent and honest with stuff. I never really saw what the big deal was with KISS. Maybe it's another one of those things where it's like, I didn't grow up hearing them. It's not nostalgic for me. I think musically they were very generic. I think their big bread and butter was the live shows, obviously the costumes, the theatrics, the pyrotechnics. And I mean, hey, at the end of the day, they had a very long and successful career. So who am I to say, oh, I don't like their music? It's just a personal preference. I don't like them, whatever, but no hate, nothing against them. Just never got to be my thing. But founding member Ace Frehley of KISS has passed away at the age of 74. The original lead guitarist and legendary spaceman of KISS has died. Frehley died October 16th after reportedly being on life support following a fall at his home, and he was 74. Rocker's family said in a statement to USA Today that the musician died peacefully, surrounded by his family in New Jersey. We are completely devastated and heartbroken. In his last moments, let's see if I can get rid of some of these ads over here. I know if I click on that big X, it goes to a different page, but I've tried to use ad blockers before, and then I go to these news sites, and they're like, you can't use ad blockers, so I apologize. There's a lot going on my screen, but I guess I'm also kind of technologically challenged when it comes to some of this stuff. Anyways, so the family begins their statement saying, we are completely devastated and heartbroken. In his last moments, we were fortunate enough to have been able to surround him with loving, caring, peaceful words, thoughts, prayers, and intentions as he left this earth. We cherish all of his finest memories, his laughter, and celebrate his strengths and kindness that he bestowed upon others. The magnitude of his passing is of epic proportions and beyond comprehension. Reflecting on all of his incredible life achievements, Ace's memory will continue to live on forever. So, A week before his death on October 7th, Freely canceled his remaining tour dates for 2025, citing ongoing medical issues. The announcement came shortly after he was hospitalized for what was characterized as a minor fall in his studio. Freely joined Kiss at the start of the band's career in 1973 after auditioning for singer Paul Stanley, bassist Gene Simmons, and drummer Peter Criss in their New York hometown. His initial tenure in the band ended in 1982 when Freely embarked on a solo career with Freely's Comet. His onstage antics were as notable as Simmons' fire breathing and Stanley's ziplining over crowds. In his silver platform boots, Freely would stand with his trademark Gibson Les Paul tilted upward, fireworks and smoke shooting from the guitar neck, and a display of rock and roll flamboyance previously unseen in live shows. I would click on that video, but I don't know if that's going to work out too well for me. Let's get out of this anime ad over here to the right. That's weird. I don't even watch anime or anything. I don't know why these weird ads pop up. I promise you. So, again, kind of going back to how it's like they were never really quite my cup of tea. They weren't a band that I ever got into. But as somebody who I love live music, I love concerts, live shows, stuff. I love especially now more than ever. I mean, okay, back in the 70s, obviously they're saying this is very new, groundbreaking stuff. I mean, there's Kiss, there's Alice Cooper, people that were really starting to push the boundaries of like what to expect from a live show. But in 2025 now more than ever, when concert tickets, prices for tickets are just astronomical, just insane. And then you get the ticket scalpers. Ooh, we've got a Ticketmaster story that I'm going to get into also. Not a news story, a personal story. But concerts are so expensive now that it's like if you go and, the band is singing to a bunch of backing tracks or they play the song exactly like it sounds on the album and stuff, like I can sit at home and I can listen to the album. I can listen to the album at work. I go to a show because I want to see true musicianship, talent, skill. I want to maybe see something a little different, a little unique, maybe bring it with, the lighting and the visuals, maybe some pyrotechnics, maybe, whatever. Give me a show. I don't want to just go and like walk away and be like, wow, they sounded just like their CD. Well, nobody buys CDs anymore, but you know what I mean? So I will definitely say that again, like not being a fan of Kiss, but also not talking trash, not hating. They pushed the boundaries. They were groundbreaking in their live shows and what they did. I mean, there's videos out there of Ace Frehley playing guitar, and you'd have a pyrotechnic, and there were like the neck pickup of his guitar would just ignite, burst into flames or whatever. Maybe not into flames because eventually that would actually damage the guitar, but kind of like a sparkler type of effect where this thing is flaming off and shooting sparks or whatever while he's doing a guitar solo. Stuff that probably really would damage the instruments over time, but at a time where nobody was doing stuff like that yet, So to Mr. Ace Frehley, cheers to you. And then another one, you're going to laugh about this one, and I'm not trying to compare the two careers. Don't get me wrong. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not trying to be like, oh, they're the same or this one's more important, but this is at least like a band that I did come up listening to. I got super into their music when I was in junior high and high school. I was fortunate enough to see them live a couple of times, most recently in just a little over a year ago on the same night of what would have been a high school reunion for me. And I said, you know what? No. In this day and age of technology and social media and everything, anyone from high school that I want to talk to, I could either pick up my phone and call them or text them right now, or I could find them on social media and say, hey, how the heck are you? Let's chat. Let's catch up. I don't need to pay a bunch of money, go to a reunion and have all these forced interactions, telling the same stories over and over and over again all night long about, well, what have you been up to? What have I been up to? What am I doing? Oh, do you like your job? No, I hate my job. It makes me hate my life every single day, but I still get up every morning when my alarm goes off and I still go because I have bills to pay and ain't nobody else coming to save me except me. So anyways, that rant aside, all that to say, Limp Bizkit shares death of bassist Sam Rivers, 48 years old, in emotional post. This one we still have not. This one's still too fresh to have a cause of death given. I have very much learned. I mean, I think we all kind of knew this, but I've definitely learned in recent months that Facebook is pretty much the definition of fake news. Like anything you read on Facebook is going to be some sort of false news, fake news. Like all you got to do is you see something on Facebook, Google it, and immediately it'll be like, no, that wasn't true. So Sam Rivers, bass player of Limp Bizkit, died over this past weekend. One thing on Facebook was suggesting that he was waiting for a liver transplant and died due to complications, whatever. So the actual true story that took about 2 seconds of research to discover was that Sam Rivers had actually undergone a liver transplant over 15 years ago, more than 15 years ago. Years of just heavy alcohol use, living the rock and roll lifestyle, touring, drugs, drinking, whatever. He had a liver transplant. He said he went by all of his doctor's recommendations, quit drinking, did whatever he had to do to kind of clean himself up. So his passing, we still don't have an official cause of death, but 48 years old, also still very tragic. Because they were still, honestly, you can laugh. Limp Bizkit's going strong, man. 90s stuff is very much back in style right now. Aside from them kind of taking a couple of hiatuses here and there and stuff, like Limp Bizkit never really completely went away. They've taken some breaks and whatnot, but really Limp Bizkit is one of those bands that like they've stuck around. They've continued to release new music. They have continued to tour. Like I said, I just saw them a little over a year ago and had an absolute blast, by the way. Had so much fun. So much fun. It was just like when I just saw Creed a couple months ago. These bands that were just seen as such a joke for such a long time, which is kind of funny because it was also like at the peak of their popularity, selling out stadiums and arenas, but still they were the butt of every joke. Everyone's making fun of them with arms wide open, break stuff, all, Creed and Limp Bizkit, two of the biggest like bands that were just like the butts of so many jokes. And now in the past, year and a half, 2 years, I've seen both bands live, and it was just a crowd. Both times was just a crowd of people letting loose, having fun, and not caring if anyone was laughing at them or if anyone was staring at them or anyone thought that they looked stupid. They were just having fun. And I was doing the same thing. I was like, I don't even care right now. They sing higher, man. When I saw Creed, when I was like, they sing higher, man. I don't care how loud I'm singing. I don't care if I'm bugging the person next to me. Oh, I'm singing that thing at the top of my lungs. Same thing with all the Limp Bizkit songs. They opened and closed their show with break stuff. Have you ever seen a band play the same song twice in like an hour and a half long set? And the crowd was just as hyped to hear it the second time at the end of their set. I mean, it was hilarious. So very tragic, very sad loss for the music world. Again, in my humble opinion, bassist Sam Rivers, founding member of Limp Bizkit, has died. He was 48 years old. Excuse me. It's been very dry here the past 2 days, so I apologize. News of Rivers' death was shared by the band's official Instagram account, which noted he died on October 18th. The cause of death was not disclosed. The statement, signed by Limp Bizkit's Fred Durst, Wes Borland, John Otto, and DJ Lethal, remembered Rivers as our brother, our bandmate, and our heartbeat. There's like a couple of snippets here. Let's see if it goes down, if I can just find the whole statement instead of reading it in pieces. There's more stuff about Ace Frehley. All right, we'll just read it in snippets. We'll just go through because I think they've got it kind of spaced out. So the statement from the official Limp Bizkit Instagram begins, the pulse beneath every song, the calm in the chaos, the soul in the sound. From the first note we ever played together, Sam brought a light and a rhythm that could never be replaced. His talent was effortless, his presence unforgettable, his heart enormous. Born in Jacksonville, Florida, Rivers formed Limp Bizkit with Fred Durst in 1994. The influential new metal band made its debut in 97 with their first studio album, $3 Bill, y'all. In August, Limp Bizkit performed at the Reading Festival in England for a show that Rivers described as such a beautiful experience. In his final Instagram post on October 17th, Rivers celebrated the anniversary of the band's third album, Chocolate Starfish, and you know the rest, released in 2000. Nothing but love, he wrote. In 2020, Rivers revealed in the book Raising Hell backstage tales from the lives of metal legends that he left Limp Bizkit for several years from 2015 to 2018 after he got liver disease from excessive drinking. Saying, quote, I had to leave Limp Bizkit in 2015 because I felt so horrible. And a few months after that, I realized I had to change everything because I had really bad liver disease. Rivers reportedly wrote in the book. Quit drinking and did everything the doctors told me. I got treatment for the alcohol and got a liver transplant, which was a perfect match. The statement from Limp Bizkit announcing Rivers' passing remembered him as a once-in-a-lifetime kind of human being and a true legend of legend whose spirit will live forever in every groove, every stage, every memory, the group added. We love you, Sam. We'll carry you with us always. Rest easy, brother. Your music never ends. Cheers to you, Mr. Sam Rivers. I do worry when we hear, if we ever hear of the cause of death, if it will be a disappointing one. I know we, to this day, have never been told the cause of death of former Slipknot drummer Joey Jordison. I know he had been removed from the band. He'd something about having like a neurodegenerative issue, something that affected his legs, and they said like he couldn't really drum anymore. But he went to the doctor, went to therapy, did all sorts of different stuff, and was able to kind of recoup and rehab. But the band never brought him back on. And I know since the death of Paul Gray, Slipknot has, I think, had a pretty strict policy about drugs and whatever. Like, I'm not saying every member of the band is completely sober in terms of alcohol, but I think if they see self-destructive patterns, that they try to nip it in the bud and try to handle it. And if it doesn't get handled, the band members themselves are removed. Because more than anything, as I mentioned before, concerts are so expensive now. As a band, you can't really afford to go out there and give a subpar performance anymore. Somebody pays 80, 90, 100 bucks or more hundreds sometimes to go to a show, and then they walk out of there thinking like, oh man, like the band was drunk, they sounded terrible, the drummer was off time, the whole, like, then you get people saying like, well, I'm not going to go see that band live anymore. And in a day and age where streaming rules, streaming is king, and nobody buys physical music anymore. Nobody's buying CDs. A few people here and there are buying vinyl. Cassette tapes have made a return somehow. Okay, fine. But really, like, bands are not making money off of selling their music anymore. So you have to bring it when it comes to a live show. So yeah, all that to say, let's see, we got one more. We can do one more quick music story before I start complaining about stuff that sucks. This one was definitely not on my 2025 bingo card, but Rush has actually chosen to reunite. And, I had a lot of criticisms and a lot of issues with Linkin Park's choice in a new vocalist to replace Chester Bennington. No, it's not just because she's a woman. I just think that her particular vocal style is not a good fit for the band. And I know they say, oh, we weren't trying to replace Chester. We didn't want someone that sounded like Chester. That's fine. You got someone that doesn't sound like Chester. But I just don't think her style fits the band. Everyone's, oh, it's just because she's a woman. It's like, no, I don't think she fits. She's not, whatever. Neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, Linkin Park, Rush, any band who loses a band member like Limp Bizkit, I mean, are they going to find a new bass player and continue on? I mean, that's their right to do. A band is not just one person. And when you have, 2, 3, sometimes 4 other people in a band, they put a lot of hard work and time and effort into these songs too, and they still want to get out there and play these songs for the fans, and the fans still want to hear these songs live again. So I support it and I welcome it, but I am also always a little weary. So with Rush, okay, I mean, there are a lot of people out there who I think could, maybe not a lot, but there are people out there who I think could fill Neil Peart's shoes. Um, this individual who they have chosen, I looked up and I watched a couple videos on YouTube, and it's kind of like, all right, she's got chops, she can play. I'm into it. I support it. I'm all for it. The end of the day, when they start touring and they start playing shows, let that speak for itself. But I kind of thought they more or less kind of retired even well before Neil Peart died, because I think he was having like carpal tunnel or something. Like, he was having issues where, like, he was saying he couldn't really play at the level that he felt he should have anymore. So the band more or less kind of retired even while he was still alive. And then after his passing, it was like, well, he wrote all the lyrics of the songs. He was their phenomenal drummer. He was, the backbone of the band, keeping everybody in time and everything. But here we are. Rush has added nearly a dozen stops on their surprise 50-something comeback tour. Surviving members Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson will be joined on the road by Anika Nilles. I apologize. I'm probably really butchering that last name, but who will be filling in for Rush's late drummer and lyricist Neil Peart. Concerts were added in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, among others. See a complete list of dates, cities, and venues below. These shows mark the first time Lee and Lifeson will tour together since the finale of Rush's R40 tour on August 1st, 2015. So over 10 years. I think they played. I think Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson performed a couple songs at the Taylor Hawkins tribute with different drummers, one of which was Danny Carey from Tool. But yeah, they're saying this will be their first tour in over 10 years. The 50-something tour comes full circle by returning to the venue. So August 1st, 2015, at the Forum in Los Angeles, the 50-something tour comes full circle by returning to the venue with a kickoff show in June of 2026. Not really, let's see. There's not really a whole lot else to say about that. Just that they found a new drummer. I don't really know if she's been in other bands or if it was kind of one of those like YouTuber things. I think that's kind of what Primus did, if I'm not mistaken, was they did open auditions and had to go through probably hundreds, if not thousands of people. And I think the guy they went with was a guy that did like YouTube drum videos, and they thought he had the chops and whatever. So same thing with this young lady. She can play, man. She's got chops. So yeah, tour starts next year. We'll see. But I wish them the best. I really do, because I think it's got to be hard, when you've had the same lineup forever, and you lose your bandmate of many decades. It's hard to just kind of pick up the pieces and continue on, especially like at their age. They could totally just be like, you know what, we're going to retire. We're just going to call it a day. But they want to get back out there for the fans. They want to play the songs for the fans. And I think the fans will want to show up for them and hear these songs. So I don't have an article for this one, but I just have a little rant about Ticketmaster, talking about how concerts are expensive, just outright. When you go to buy a ticket to a concert anyways, but then if you're somebody like myself who actually has a full-time job, and you can't be on your phone or on a computer at exactly 10 a.m. on a Friday morning when tickets go on sale. Physical box offices are worthless at this point. Everybody buys online. You go line up at the box office, those things will be sold out before the guy can even like pull the closed sign down and open up the box office. But I had tickets to see the band Thrice this past Friday. Bought them pretty much right when they went on sale. It's like, okay, cool. I'm not a massive, huge Thrice fan, but I liked them well enough that I was like, I've never seen them as a headlining artist, and it's like, okay, maybe I would like to see Thrice when they're the headliner and it's their show and whatever. And so I bought tickets, and their new album came out a couple weeks ago. I listened to it a handful of times, and um, again, like not trying to hate, not trying to like talk trash or anything, but I was just kind of like getting a little bit less excited about the show. And I kind of went back and listened to the last. So this one it was like Horizons East, and then the new one was Horizons West. So it has sort of like a 2-part concept album, even though they were released like 4 years apart. I kind of went back and listened to the other one that came out a few years ago, and was like, and then even like maybe the last 2 or 3 albums before that, I was kind of like, So again, like I'm not trying to hate on Thrice, but I just sort of started to pick up on the fact that I haven't been super impressed by their last several albums. I just saw their singer Dustin Kensrue at an incredibly small venue in town. His new solo album that came out about a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago. That album was great. And so I was like, that was really cool. So I went and saw him. He played at a really, 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 and when I say really small, I mean like really, really, really small venue, like maybe just a little bit bigger than this room that I'm sitting in here. So that was cool because he was doing just like an acoustic unplugged set without a band, nothing. But then yeah, I got the tickets to see Thrice, and then I was kind of like, you know what? Like I'm not feeling it. I think I'm just gonna sell them. So here's the thing with Ticketmaster. This is where I'm gonna get into my rant about Ticketmaster. I've had many rants about Ticketmaster over the years, and sometimes I have an article to back up what I'm talking about, but this is just a personal experience of Ticketmaster sucks. And what is up, good buddy? What's up, Kyle? Hope I'm giving you a little bit of entertainment while you're at work. I think pretty sure you're at work now. But yeah, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Right now I'm just kind of going on about the deaths of Ace Frehley and Sam Rivers of Limp Bizkit, and I'm going to rant a little bit about Ticketmaster, and then we're going to talk about how stupid people are who went to the No Kings protests in a little bit. Yes, No Kings. We did it. We still don't have a king. Congratulations. Okay, Ticketmaster. So long story longer, I had tickets to a concert that as it kind of got closer to the show, I was just kind of like, you know what, like I'm not really feeling it. I'm just gonna list them back out there. And when I went to list them, it lets you list them for whatever price you want, and it kind of told me like this is the going rate because it was a sold out show at a standing room only venue. And it tells me it's like this is kind of what other people are selling tickets for to this show. And I was like, you know what? I thought about it for a second. Like I could get a little bit of extra money out of these, but I was like, nope. As a consumer, it pisses me off when other people go and buy tickets up and then resell them back to us poor saps that couldn't be on right at 10 a.m. and buy tickets for higher than what they paid for them. So no, I listed them at face value. I just said if I break even, cool. I just want somebody to use the tickets and I don't want to lose money. That's all I wanted. I just decided I didn't want to go to the show and I just wanted to kind of just break even, making my money back. When somebody bought my tickets, I then get an email from Ticketmaster that says I need to go and fill out a 1099K tax form. Now, all right, boys and girls, I'm going to explain something to you. When you have to fill out a tax form, that means the individual or organization that is asking for tax information is assuming that if you do whatever you're doing enough to make over, I can't remember if it's like $400 in a single transaction or over $1,200 over the course of 12 months. There's different thresholds. I forget which. I don't know. I know because playing music freelance as a side hustle outside of my full-time job, there are certain organizations that send me 1099-C tax forms where I have to claim what they paid me to just play some cover songs for a couple hours. And then if I don't have enough write-offs to offset it, I wind up paying taxes because those organizations suck and they actually report what they're paying me instead of just handing me cash. So Ticketmaster says I need to fill out tax information to resell 2 concert tickets. This can only mean one thing. And it is that Ticketmaster has accepted the fact that there are individuals out there in this world that are making a livelihood off of not having a real job and is sitting in front of a computer, probably having multiple different email addresses to have multiple different accounts. Because, you can only buy, I think, a maximum of, it's usually maybe 6 tickets per person or per transaction or something. There are people out there who sit there and snatch up concert tickets the moment they go on sale. So then when somebody like me gets a break at work, or when I get off work at 2:00 in the afternoon, I go, oh yeah, that show I wanted to go to went on sale this morning. I should go look and say, oh, tickets are all sold out. Oh, they're being resold for $500 a pop. I guess I'm not going to that show. Ticketmaster has accepted that people are doing this as a means of income. So much so that me, who just had 2 tickets that I wanted to list at, I think it was like $60 each. So well below that threshold that it's not going to come back to bite me. I'm not going to have to claim it. I'm not going to have to pay taxes on it. But they're like, just in case, if you do this again and you do it enough, we need your tax info, because if you make too much money reselling concert tickets throughout the year, we're going to send you a 1099 form and you're going to have to claim it on your taxes next year. Okay. Now here's the other thing. When I bought the tickets, there were taxes and fees and everything in there. I already paid tax on the tickets when I bought them. When all was said and done, I generally paid about $60 each for the tickets, and I listed them back at exactly face value, $60 each, whatever. When I finally got the info back of your ticket sold, congratulations, here's what you're going to get. It said that they sold for $71 each, and I would receive $51 each. So now I already paid tax on these 2 tickets. I resold them. Ticketmaster charged that new customer the tax again on something that has already been purchased and has already been taxed, and then sends me tax documents so that in case I make too much money reselling tickets over the course of the year, they will tax me again. What?
No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
So anyways, that's my rant about Ticketmaster. They are the great evil. They have literally, I'm not even exaggerating on this one, I'm not making this up. They have literally created a monopoly with Live Nation, which when the 2 companies merged, there was a judge or somebody that said, okay, Ticketmaster and Live Nation, you can merge as long as you don't create a monopoly. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. Know what I mean? Guess what? They're a friggin' monopoly. Try to go to any major concert that's not at a small local venue where you can get tickets outside of going through Ticketmaster or Live Nation. And then the kicker, Live Nation owns a lot of the venues. You go to, so going back to talking about when I saw Limp Bizkit a little over a year ago, there is a big open air theater, outdoor amphitheater where I live down close to the southern border. And then when I went to see Limp Bizkit, I drove about an hour and a half northeast to an amphitheater up there that used to host the likes of Ozfest and other things like that. The signage was a lot of the same color schemes and design, everything. it was such a like it messed with my brain so much that so many things at this venue in a completely different city, almost 2 hours away, looked so much like a venue right here in my hometown that I've been to dozens of times because they're both owned by Live Nation. And so they all use the same color schemes and all have the same signage and have the same layouts and have the same. It's like when you go to a Starbucks, each one kind of looks a little bit different, but you know you're in a Starbucks. You go to a Live Nation venue, they look a little bit different, but you know you're in a Live Nation venue. So Live Nation and Ticketmaster has these bands by the balls, and it's like, oh, you don't want to use our ticketing website? Fine, then we're not going to book you at our big venues that are all over the country. Oh, and then the kicker too, the venue takes a percentage of their merch sales. You want to know why that concert t-shirt costs $60 at the show, but then you go home and you order that exact same concert t-shirt with all the tour dates and everything on the back for $25 plus shipping? Because the venue takes a cut. They take a cut of everything. The reason I haven't been to a concert in a while, it's hard to get tickets anywhere other than Ticketmaster these days, and they are expensive. Then you go and you got to pay to park, and then it's just a whole thing. It's a whole thing now. Let's talk about the No Kings protests. Yeah, how about that? I I didn't even bother pulling up any articles about this because I feel like I just kind of want to rant. But I also, let's see if I can at least pull up some stuff I saved on Instagram. I don't even know where to start. This is the second round of No Kings protests we've had since the current administration took over. It's been less than a year. I was saying earlier when I kind of first started, my friend to the north, Devin, the friendly HVAC guy to the north in good old Canada. We talk about this stuff and we kind of end every conversation with everything's retarded, everybody's dumb, and that's about it. That's what it kind of comes down to. Well, I think this is about the only one that I saved, so we'll just kind of go through this. But people who go to the No Kings protests clearly do not understand how our voting system works. So they go on and on about Trump is a threat to democracy, and he's, dismantling democracy, and he's dismocracy. Words are hard. You know what I mean? It's all the same buzzwords. It's all the same nonsense. He's destroying democracy. He's whatever stuff. It's like people voted him in for 4 years. For 4 years under the Biden administration, we had to hear all this talk about, you guys are a bunch of election deniers. Oh, what about January 6th? Oh, you mean like when people are literally just being given a guided tour through the Capitol? Like it's been proven. It's on video. There's video of these people being calmly escorted through by security. Oh, January 6th, insurrection. Yeah, whatever. Shut up. But just this whole thing, he's democracy, the threat to democracy, whatever. And he's like, you were election deniers and stuff. It's like everybody's an election denier when their guy doesn't win, right? I've never been that type of person. I've never been one to, it was rigged or whatever. Like, do I think that elections are rigged? Probably at least some of the times, maybe most of the time. I don't know. But it's like at the end of the day, it doesn't keep me up at night. Like I'm not subscribing to that theory so hard that I'm going to go out and argue with any random stranger about it. But it's like, the Democrats lose. Oh, it was rigged. Oh, you guys, it was Russia. It is it. But it's like, okay, but then, the Republican loses. Oh, it was rigged. Everybody says it's rigged when their guy doesn't win. Everybody's an election denier at some point in time in their life. When the left says it's a threat to their democracy, they just mean that their democracy, not yours. 100%. It's just a threat to their way of life. But, like the Democrats have been election deniers plenty of times too. It's like, I don't want to hear this nonsense. I'm so tired of this crap. You're election deniers. I'm like, yeah, you were for 4 years too. Everybody is at some point. But they say, we need democracy. We need to vote in a president. Okay. We voted in a new president by quite a bit of a landslide, I might say. Like, it wasn't like he won by like one vote. It was, yeah. Yeah. So we voted in a new candidate using democracy or constitutional republic, whichever, take your pick. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we don't want any kings. And it's like, well, we voted this guy in. We're like, oh, well, democracy, but not like that. Just like Kyle just said, it's like their democracy. So this is a series of slides posted by the Daily Wire on Instagram. Somebody named David French. He's got a blue check mark. I don't know if he's supposed to be important or not. I don't really care. Went to Chicago No Kings rally. A huge, peaceful crowd. Families were there. People of all ages. Lots of homemade signs. Soros apparently needs to up the signage budget. Some scenes below. There was such a huge gap between scary GOP rhetoric and the completely peaceful reality. Let's continue, shall we? Chicago elementary school teacher was caught on camera reportedly making a bullet to the neck gesture to people with Charlie Kirk flag. It seems pretty peaceful, no? Yeah. These people are sick. Like this, like, there's a lot of things where I try to just read the news, see what's going on in the world, and say, oh, that kind of sucks. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, okay, I agree with that. That's good, whatever. So, and I try to not let it get to me, and I just move about my day and stuff. But this still, like, the people who do stuff like this, like the my neck and the thing, like celebrating the assassination of somebody for doing nothing more than just trying to sit and have civil conversation with people. Like, it gets me so wound up. Like, oh my God, it's just, these people are so sick. But then you say, oh, like, you support political violence. And they're like, well, yeah, because he was a hateful bigot and he was spreading hate. It's like, okay, so you admit that you are okay with political violence and you are okay with being violent and you are okay with being hateful if you deem someone a bad person. I talked a couple weeks ago about how Steven Crowder's back. Steven Crowder stopped doing his I gotta stop looking at this clip, but there's more videos to see as we click forward. Steven Crowder stopped doing his change my mind. I'd say segments, because, like, yes, they were filmed, but he was doing a lot of, like, the same kind of thing what Charlie Kirk would do, where he would just go on college campuses and try to just sit and have conversation with people. And he said it got to where, like, there was always some kind of violence. Like, people would be throwing things at him and it would look like a milkshake, but he's like, sometimes it was a milkshake. Sometimes that cup was full of solid concrete. Sometimes there were Molotov cocktails. He was talking about, cars and buildings and things getting firebombed, tires getting slashed. The party of peace and love and tolerance is like, oh, well, it's okay to be violent. So his most recent one that he came back with, Steven Crowder, he said he stopped doing what he was doing because he couldn't afford to have security. He couldn't afford to have bulletproof glass. He couldn't afford to have armed guards, all this stuff. And he said the threats to his safety and the safety of his crew were getting to be too great. So he's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And what happened with Charlie Kirk, like, made someone like Steven Crowder say, you know what? Like, we can't back down in fear. Like, we can't just step down and cower. Like, now more than ever, it's important that people get out there and speak up. And he does it respectfully. He does it peacefully. He is not violent towards anyone. He does not raise his voice or scream and shout at anyone. He does not name call anyone. He does not belittle anyone. He does not talk down to anyone. He does not hate anyone. But he does say that Charlie Kirk was much more moderate than he is, and that he is maybe not as nice. Still polite and respectful. But his comeback with his first two videos of coming back and doing his change my mind segments on these college campuses, where he now had to basically have an army of armed security, as well as a bulletproof vest, as well as bulletproof glass, was the left is violent, change my mind. And the more we just kind of sit back and let the left talk and post their videos on social media and do what they do, we don't have to say anything. We don't have to do anything. They are proving Steven Crowder's point to be truer and truer every single day. And of course, they come back and they try to argue, oh, what about this? What about, and every time he shoots it down, he's like, that wasn't political violence. That person was not right wing. That was not whatever. Like he's very well read up. He's very well educated. He's very well prepared with his stats and figures. He tries very hard. He's very diligent about, because his whole point is, he says, change my mind. Right. So if someone's going to come and argue, debate's a better word. Argue is like you're just trying to be right. Debate is you are trying to inform the other person. And he even says too that like he doesn't do these as like a gotcha moment, like he's trying to constantly dunk on people. He says more than anything, he's trying to expose the failure of the institution of colleges and universities, and that they are just brainwashing students and not teaching them, first of all, not teaching them life skills, not helping them prepare for the real world, but just that universities are basically just giving them their truth. Like Kyle said there, it's like their democracy, their thing, you know. He's like Steven Crowder says he's back out there doing this because he wants to point out the failure of the institution, which is the universities and the colleges. But let's continue on. So we got the teacher there. She's doing the bullet to the neck thing here in Los Angeles. Little children were taught to beat a Trump piñata with a stick. Political violence. You're encouraging and teaching political violence at an elementary level. That if there's somebody in a political position or, you know, in a political office that you don't like, it is okay to be violent towards them. These are screenshots that I took on my phone, and I don't have them transferred over to my laptop, and I'm not going to bother with them at this point because whatever, I can just talk about them. But I was reading an article this morning on NPR. I know, but again, in an effort to be upfront, transparent, honest, whatever, I'll read articles from Fox News. I'll read articles from NPR. I'll read articles from CNN. It's just knowing what the source is and knowing to take it with a grain of salt, and, you know, just kind of knowing where your source is and knowing where their bias is. Everyone's biased. Everything's biased. Fox News is biased. CNN is biased. They're all biased. So just I'll read. I don't care who the source is. I'll read. I'll skim through the article, but just, you know where the source is and know what you're reading. But this article from NPR today talking about the No Kings protests, and there was one. Good God, the irony! Oh my God, the irony! Like there's like a big display on a beach. Like this had to have been taken from. I don't even think this was a drone. This had to have been taken from an airplane, because I don't know how high drones can go and photograph and what. But it was like the shore of a beach. And people went out there with rocks and everything and spelled out in a gigantic sign on the shore, "No Kings, yes on Prop 50. Now, for any of you who might be watching or listening to this who do not live in our great state of California, Prop 50 is Gavin Newsom's brilliant response to Texas redistricting and like redrawing some of their districting maps in Texas to give them an advantage in the House with more Republican seats. So on one hand, Newsom and the Democrats and everybody in California over here going, oh, that's gerrymandering. You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. And then immediately turn around and say, well, fine, we're going to do it too. Like a bunch of spoiled children. They're like, you can't do that. But guess what? We'll do it too. So now we're spending all these tax dollars on this stupid special election where I got the voting guide, the booklet that's like, okay, read through. This is what we're voting on and everything. Everything was all about just like polling locations and times and, if you're disabled or deaf or this or that, whatever, all these different. And then finally I get to like the thing, and it's just a little square about this big that just had a brief little description about what Prop 50 is. And that was it. This whole big, I already threw it in the trash. Otherwise I would hold it up and show it to you. But like the voter's guide had like maybe 3 or 4 sentences about what the proposition actually is, and then everything else is just a bunch of nonsense that you could Google. So there's this picture No kings. Yes on Prop 50. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. So they want no kings, but they're okay with Gavin Newsom trying to redraw the districting maps for the state of California, which already has the most electoral votes out of any state in the entire country, more than Texas, because we have a more dense population. Now they want to redistrict that to, stack the deck even more. And I think it's really going to backfire on him. I really hope it does, because I'll get a good chuckle out of it. I love seeing Gavin Newsom lose, but unfortunately, he's won too many times over these years. He survived a recall election. He survived a normal standard re-election. Were those elections rigged? Probably, but again, it's another one of those things where, like, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, and I'm not going to go to, oh, it was rigged. But like, whether it was rigged or not, all I know is I was stuck with another 4 years of Gavin Newsom, and there's nothing I can do about it at this point. So time to move forward. All right, let's see the next slide. In Denver, protesters smiled and posed behind a Charlie Kirk had it coming, change my mind sign. Peaceful? Seems peaceful. Yeah. Totally peaceful. I cannot wrap my brain around. We've all seen the videos. If anyone's watching this, or if anyone watches this or listens to this on a replay, I welcome you. Please, respectfully, if you have videos that have convinced you that Charlie Kirk was a bad person, if you have video clips somewhere saved away, stored away somewhere in your hard drive or whatever, that give you motivation to say that he was a white supremacist, he was a bigot, he was a racist, he was a phobe, he was a whatever, like, send them my way, and I will gladly watch those, and I will gladly have a conversation about why we disagree on that. But so far, everything that I have seen, and everything and anything that anyone can produce that's trying to say why Charlie Kirk was a bad person, was just him politely, respectfully, but boldly, maybe saying, if he had, there's one, see if I can find it. I think I might still have it saved. There's one particular clip. Oh, there's more slides. Well, I don't need to put this up on the screen. So anyways, the last slide here on the Daily Wire post, excuse me, someone named Andrew Colvett, which, again, sorry, I don't know who this person is. They've got a blue check mark. Maybe they're important. Maybe they're not. I don't really know. They tweeted that the silver lining is that no kings flushed out many violent leftists who couldn't help but expose themselves publicly. Their egos and their morbid glee got the better of them. These dark souls will now enjoy a well-deserved visit from law enforcement for inciting political violence. That last part is probably not true. I don't think anything's going to happen to those people, but yes, they are exposing themselves for the absolute garbage human beings that they are. And they will celebrate the death of someone, an innocent man. They will celebrate or say, oh, darn it, to the near almost death of a then presidential candidate last year, now 47th president of the United States. But let me see if I can find, not that one, not that. Maybe it was this one. Let me see if I can find this clip again. I know I pulled it up before. There it is. All right. So this clip that I'm about to play yet again, because I think I've shared it before. This is one of those moments where I think people will try to use this to say, oh, Charlie Kirk was homophobic. It's like, no, he would very respectfully but boldly say, well, I disagree with your lifestyle, but continue. He would still let these individuals speak, the people that came up to the microphone to talk, to ask questions, to challenge him, to say whatever. He would listen to them. There's another video, I think it's in this same group of posts, where an individual comes up and says they're non-binary. And I think this was at a little more of a conservative university where the crowd starts to kind of, heckle and boo and whatever. And Charlie Kirk quiets him down. He says, hey, no, He's like, I'm going to afford this person the courtesy that the left usually does not afford us, and that they stepped up to the microphone. They have something to say, and I'm going to listen. We're not going to heckle. We're not going to boo. We're not going to be rude. And at the end of the conversation, he can still say, well, I disagree with your lifestyle, or I, disagree, whatever. But he never hated anyone. He was never hateful towards anyone. He would very clearly and boldly state his beliefs, but he was never hateful in them. But you know how the left is. They're like, oh, you don't affirm, you don't agree. Ooh, shame, bigot, whatever. So it's like they can't comprehend someone that just says, I disagree. We spent so many years saying that it's not polite to discuss politics and religion in public. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand at work, because at work you have HR and there's other stuff going on. Like, you don't have free speech at work. I hate to tell you that. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I was talking about Jimmy Kimmel. You do not have free speech at work. You don't. You really don't. But for good reason. You don't want to lose your job. A private company is not obligated to employ you. It's an at-will employment agreement that can be severed on either party at any time without explanation. Yeah, so let's just, I think I've got the clip up here. I think I said to share audio. Looks like we got audio there. So let's just go ahead and listen to this audio. Go.
Ask you, like, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess...
Hold on. I got to start it over because I think I missed the very beginning. Let's see if this works.
It's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice? Like,
yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country. And for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you. I'm a gay.
So like that, he let this young man speak. He listened to him. He responded to what he had to say. He did add in there that as per my personal beliefs, I disagree with that lifestyle. But at the same time, he said, that doesn't matter to me. You say you're part of the conservative party. We welcome all. And that's it. But the left would look at this clip and go, oh, look, he's a bigot. He's being hateful. He's whatever. It's like, no, he just said, hey, like me personally as a Christian, I disagree with your lifestyle. But at the same time, like, he doesn't hate this person. He doesn't hate this kid. And he's like, oh, it's like, well, you're a conservative. You say that you vote conservative. He's like, welcome to the conservative party. We welcome you. You are welcome here. He didn't say, oh, shame, get away. You can't be a conservative. No. What else do we got? I think there's some other stuff in here. Okay. No, we're gonna skip that. Let's try this. Shoot, where was it? This one.
Let's do something that liberals never do to us.
Raise your hand if you're progressive. No? We have one.
I love this school. This is a great school. I love this place. You don't have a lot of allies here.
It's going to be a tough crowd. Well, my name is Davin Damien. I am non-binary. I am here with the Alliance.
Hold on one sec. Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Guys, hold on one sec. So we outnumber, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Davin Damien.
Davin. We outnumber Davin. That's unusual on a college campus. However, let's do something that liberals never do to us. Let's give him, I think, courtesy. Courtesy that we don't give them. How about that? Okay. So is everyone cool with that? All right. So let's not heckle. Let's not interrupt. Let's be the ambassadors for freedom of speech. Cool. Okay, please continue.
I must say thank you. Thank you for that, Charlie. So I'm here with the Alliance of Male Feminists defending women's bodies.
Let's do something.
Look at that, man. He was so hateful that he said, "Hey, let's support this individual's right to freedom of speech." They came up, they waited their turn to come up to the microphone and either ask a question or say whatever. They're speaking in a calm and level tone. They were not screaming at Charlie. They're not screaming all sorts of horrible names and buzzwords and whatever. And I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched the rest of this clip. I mean, that's just like a little snippet or something. But it seems like even though these two could probably not be on more opposite ends of the spectrum on many great issues, they're already starting off having what seems to be a pretty respectful exchange, I think. But this is what people will look at and go, "Oh, well, look, he's so hateful. He's so yeah, exactly." Like it's like you're not allowed to say I disagree. You're not allowed to say I disagree without being an ist or a phobe or a whatever. What the hell ever. I don't know. This is a fun one too. This goes along with the Steven Crowder, the left is violent, change my mind thing. Should probably, as I said, I should pull it up before I play it. But I think as soon as I pull it up, the audio is going to start playing. And then, all right, start that. Get rid of that. You're going to see some of the other stuff I have saved here. I swear none of it's weird. I mean, it's only Instagram. It can only be so weird. But this is Senator Eric Schmidt going on about how a lot of the violence, political violence that has been happening lately has been from the left. Now, once again, you point this out, and it is example after example after example after example after example, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And I don't have enough and-ons memorized to keep saying on and on and on. But you put this out there, what about January 6th? I'm like, I have a lot to say about January 6th. But even if what they say about January 6th were true, that is one instance. These are just over the last maybe couple months, year, maybe 2 years. Like, this is a lot. This is a lot. And these are all very recent. And these are all proven to be from the left.
And I would point out, we've heard years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremist MAGA Republicans, fascist, Nazis, an existential threat to democracy. Check yourself. And don't give me this both sides bullshit. Mr. Director, I want to ask you, the man who tried to kill Republican congressman at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, left-wing or right-wing violence?
Sir, I believe it was a left-wing ideology.
Okay. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love in the George Floyd riots. Left-wing violence or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre. Left-wing or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Covenant school shooting in Nashville. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on President Trump. Left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Trump International West Palm Beach assassination attempt, left wing. The Abundant Life Christian school shooting, left wing. The United Care CEO's murder, left wing. Tesla's burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed, left wing, left wing. The murders at the Israeli embassy, left wing. The ICE facilities firebombed, left wing. The Minnesota Catholic school shooting, left wing. The anti-white Charlotte and North Carolina stabbing, left wing. The attempted Utah News State firebombing, left wing. And now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of Charlie Kirk. So don't give me this both sides. If we want to get to unity, let's be honest. Let's be honest. And
so there it is. Those are all lots of very recent examples. I mean, the fact, like we talked about the Teslas, like the Tesla dealerships being firebombed, people's personal Teslas being keyed, being, people vandalizing, smashing, whatever, all it's like, I cannot tell you, I live in Southern California. I cannot tell you the amount of Teslas I have seen driving around town that feel the need to plaster the bumper of their Tesla with stickers that say something along the lines of vintage Tesla. I bought this before I knew Elon was a Nazi. Oh, I this is a vintage Tesla. I'm an ally. I stand with the alphabet mafia, whatever. And it's like, if you need to put a disclaimer on your car to tell people not to vandalize your vehicle, a car, if you need to tell people why they shouldn't vandalize your car, you're in the wrong political party. Like, I love watching how, Elon was the savior of the world. He made electric cars. He's going to defeat climate change. He's going to save us all. And then they didn't like things that he said. And all of a sudden he must be a Nazi and a white supremacist, whatever. I've never seen so many angry white liberal women turn on a South African man. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane how, like, he's essentially an immigrant, right? Am I wrong? He's an immigrant who holds citizenship in multiple different countries, who obviously he had a lot of failures along his way. No entrepreneur, no billionaire, no successful businessman is without a trail of failures. He has had his failures. He's had his bankruptcies, but he's obviously a very brilliant mind. I don't agree with everything he does. He does some weird stuff where I'm like, oh, I don't like that. You're putting microchips in monkeys' brains. Getting weird. Planet of the Apes, man. Planet of the Apes. I don't agree with everything he does. I don't love everything he does, but there's no denying he's a very brilliant mind. I've listened to many of the Joe Rogan podcasts where Elon Musk has been on, and he's very fascinating to listen to. But it's just so funny to watch how quickly liberals turned on him. Like, oh, electric cars, yay, Teslas, we're going to save the world. Even though, let's talk about those lithium mines that, are way worse on the environment to mine out that shit they need for those batteries. But, I'm not a scientist. What do I know? And honestly, that's the honest to God's truth. I don't know anything. But, all of a sudden he starts speaking and people are like, no, we don't, he's a Nazi. Okay. That's fine. You can think that. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. It's crazy. What else to talk about? I mean, there's still more. Oh, the No Kings protest too. Okay, so like I said, I grabbed some screenshots from an NPR article earlier. So I talked about the one where it's the picture. It was like, it said the No Kings and then the Yes on 50, which is incredibly ironic. It's incredibly stupid. People are dumb. Jacob Ironside, good evening to you, good sir. And it's a little bit later where you hail from, but always good to see you in the chat, brother. How are you? So yeah, talking about the No Kings thing and the one where it was like the No Kings, yes on 50. So they say No Kings, but they're supporting Newsom's version of gerrymandering and redistricting California to try to stick it to Trump, which I think is going to backfire on him magnificently. I'm really hoping. But then there was another one. Oh, and then of course, had to be. There was one picture of the protest, I think specifically in downtown San Diego or just somewhere in California. I don't know. Where of course people were hailing and waving the Palestinian flag because, Palestine totally aligns with leftist, progressive, liberal values. Well, that's good to hear, man. It's, I could complain a lot too. And I guess that's kind of what I'm doing right now, but, doesn't do us any good anyways. Right. No, I love, that's another thing. Again, like at these protests, these No Kings protests, people are out there waving the Palestinian flags. And it's like, if there's a country, or especially Hamas, a terrorist organization, like I'm not saying the entire nation of Palestine is a bunch of terrorists, but they are run by a terrorist organization known as Hamas. I don't know if there's a nation or an organization that is so far opposite of all the leftist, liberal, progressive propaganda. And yet somehow all of the leftist, liberal propaganda says we must support Palestine. The Israel-Palestine conflict is something that I've not been super invested in. They're two countries I've never visited. I'm going to be completely honest. It's one of those things where I'm kind of like, it doesn't affect my day-to-day life. I'm not that consumed by it. Do I think there is some fault on both sides? Probably yes. Israel's probably at fault to some degree. Palestine's probably at fault to some degree. But where I draw the line is supporting a terrorist organization that, would behead any one of us in the public square and hold your head up and everybody would cheer, and especially the one that gets me the most. And don't twist what I'm saying. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not wishing this on anyone. I am not wishing that this would happen to anyone. However, when I see people holding the banners that say Queers for Palestine, I'm like, do you understand what people in Palestine would do to you if you went to Palestine and waved a pride flag? Now, again, I am not wishing that on anyone. I am not wishing death, harm, violence, murder, anyone. I don't wish that on these people, but it's just like, do you understand what you are supporting? So at the No Kings protest, of course, people had to be waving the Palestinian flag. And then the kicker, this is why what happened to Charlie Kirk happened. This is why Steven Crowder stopped doing his Change My Mind segments for a long time, and why now that Steven Crowder is back, he has to spend $500,000 in security. And it is exactly why other people who speak up for freedom of speech, who are mourning the death of Charlie Kirk, who are, on that side of things, are legitimately afraid for their safety. Oh yeah, no, like I said, we all can complain, right? Like I said, I'm trying to not complain too much now. I'm ranting, but I'm trying not to complain. But like basically anyone who is not liberal is kind of afraid for their safety right now. What happened with Charlie Kirk has emboldened the left to basically say, if we deem someone is a bad person, if we deem that they are a bigot or a transphobe or a homophobe or a racist or whatever, if they decide that someone is a bad person, the left can justify violence and even murder, and they will dance on your grave and say, oh, what, they were spreading hate. It's okay. So on one hand, you would think that people who are anywhere from middle of the fence, moderate, right-leaning to all the way full-blown conservative would cower and back down and say, oh, well, we're scared, we're going to back down. But it's actually, I've been noticing quite the opposite, is that people are now coming out and speaking more boldly and saying, you know what, like whatever happens to me, happens to me. So be it, bring it on. I'm going to speak my truth politely, respectfully, but boldly. Maybe not politely, but you can do it without. So again, I keep kind of using Charlie Kirk as like the litmus. Like Charlie Kirk did not hate any person. He was not hateful. He did not hate anyone. He was very upfront and very bold in his beliefs, but he did not hate anyone. And I think that has emboldened a lot of people to do the same thing, where people can come out and say, hey, I disagree with this. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like that, whatever. And you need to be able to be free to express those beliefs and those opinions and those perspectives. But at the end of the day, we don't hate anybody. The left hates us. The left hates anyone who disagrees with them. Whether you're a libertarian, whether you're kind of in the middle, maybe you're right-leaning, or you're a full-blown conservative, whatever, if you do not fully align with the leftist ideology, they hate you. And yet they're the party of peace and tolerance and love and kumbaya and whatever. But you point this out to them and they go, oh, but well, you were spreading hate. And it's like, no, I wasn't. I was not spreading hate. I do not hate anyone. I do not hate any person. I do not hate any individual. But so all that to say, my very long story that I keep getting sidetracked and keep getting, because I don't have the picture in front of me. It's a screenshot on my phone somewhere, and I didn't pull it up on my laptop, but I keep getting distracted. The last thing I was going to talk about with the No Kings protest was there was a photo of somebody that had a sign at one of the No Kings protests this weekend. The first one was the Confederate flag, and it said, "You lost." The next one was the swastika, and it said, "You lost." The last one was a MAGA hat that said, "You're next." And this is why the left has justified political violence against people they disagree with. They have been calling people that they disagree with Nazis, fascists, tyrants, everything under the sun, every name you can possibly think of. They have been calling their political opponents all of these mean words for the last 8+ years, 10 years, whatever, however long. And then somebody takes an attempt on Trump's life, and all of a sudden, oh, how could this have possibly happened? We don't condone political violence of any kind. It's like, well, you've been calling Trump literally Hitler for over 8 years. You've been calling him a fascist. You've been calling him a Nazi. You've been calling him a tyrant. You've been calling anyone that doesn't support the left rhetoric or doesn't support the leftist agenda all of those same buzzwords for over 8 years. And then somebody takes an attempt on Trump. Somebody successfully, that's a shitty word to use for it, because it's like, yes, they took him out. But anyways, somebody actually takes out someone who's not even a politician, who's just someone who's out there just trying to exercise his right to freedom of speech, something that Charlie Kirk would have fought tooth and nail for anyone else's right to freedom of speech. All the people that want to say you're a white supremacist, you're this, you're that, you're whatever. It's like Charlie Kirk would absolutely support your right to say those things about him. And yet the left took him out because he was spreading hate. You can't go out and constantly say all these things. Oh, they were this and that and whatever. And then when somebody gets shot, when somebody dies, when somebody's life is taken, and all of a sudden is, oh my gosh, like how could this have possibly happened? Like the only way out of this is what Steven Crowder keeps saying. Steven Crowder said this in his most recent couple of videos, the Change My Mind thing. He says the only way that there's an exit strategy out of this is the leaders in the Democratic Party need to come up and be like, hey, everybody, we need to cool the temperature a little bit. We need to ease up on the Nazi, the fascist, the tyrant. But no, they double down. They double down and continue. They just like this weekend, the No Kings thing. People are dumb enough to really believe that, like I said in the very beginning, when I kind of dipped my toe in, I kind of touched on it and then said, okay, we're going to get to the No Kings protest later. If America had a king, if we were truly under a monarchy, you would not have that right to protest. You would not be allowed to protest if we were under a monarchy and if we truly had a king. So just the fact that you were allowed to have your peaceful protests, and some of them were peaceful, some of them were whatever, just the fact that you were allowed to have your protests and you're not in jail and you're not dead proves that we don't have a king, you bunch of idiots. I don't really know what else to add to that. I mean, it's like that's it. We don't have a king. Congratulations, we did it. You all did it. Give yourselves all a big hearty pat on the back, because we know that's all the liberals ever want, is that they want this inflated sense of self of, look, I'm a good person because I said the thing and I did the thing and I support the thing and I'm against the thing and I said the thing and I whatever. And it's just like, it's all about the, look at me, I'm a good person. Look, I'm so self-righteous. I'm so good because I support the current thing. It's like,
And that's all I have to say about that.
That's really it. Like, I'm kind of at a loss after that. I think I've ranted all I can rant for one night. I mean, I don't know. I could probably rant more, but we did it, Patrick. We saved the city. I need to have that clip. I need to get that clip from SpongeBob where like the whole city's on fire and SpongeBob is just like, we did it. We saved the city. That's liberals every day. Every time the liberal gets up and does something, the city is literally burning to the ground, but they're like, we did it. We saved the city. Yeah. I don't know. I worry about this special election we're having here in California. A lot of what I've been reading leads me to believe that it's going to backfire and it's going to blow up in Newsom's face. But again, the problem comes back to because of our dense population, mostly in cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, which are incredibly liberal, they seriously outnumber the more rural areas of California that are more likely to be conservative. San Diego is pretty mixed. I want to say San Diego is pretty liberal, but kind of mixed. So I don't know, this whole redistricting thing. Part of me is really like, it's going to blow up in his face. It's going to backfire. But then at the same time, lots of people in California are really retarded. I mean, look, they basically voted Newsom back in essentially 3 times. They voted for him the first time. They voted him back in during a recall election that cost us a bunch of tax dollars. And then they voted him in for a legitimate second term during like the standard election. So Californians are kind of retarded. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that some recent events are maybe making people kind of wake up and maybe realize that, I think it was Albert Einstein that said the definition of insanity was doing the same thing, like repeating the same actions over and over again and expecting a different result. So in the great state of California, my home state, the only place I have ever lived, the only place I have ever called home, please, for the love of God, we are all begging you, stop voting blue. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily saying that conservatives are going to solve all of our problems. I recognize that, both political parties, politics in general is just a big, ugly, corrupt game. There's no savior. There's no winning. There's no whatever. But all I'm saying is that the Democrats have been in power, have been the majority in power in California for a very long time. California is an absolute shithole right now. So how about we try something different, eh? What do you say? Let's just, just a little parting suggestion. Like, let's just try it. Let's try something else and see if, maybe we can get to where, people are going out to an expensive dinner in San Francisco. They're not having to like step around a homeless guy taking a shit on the sidewalk in broad daylight. How about that? How about that? Let's just try it. I don't know. Parting suggestion. But I think I've ranted about all I can rant tonight. Appreciate you guys all hanging out, Jacob Ironside and Kyle. And then any of you that catch this on the replay, drop some comments down below. Let me know that you think I'm just completely full of it and I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. But give me some engagement. I welcome it all. If you agree with everything I said, if you hate everything I said, if you hate me, if you even just hate my stupid face or you just hate my background, whatever, I don't care. Just give me, throw a comment in there. I'm going to put this up on Spotify as I've been doing lately. Whenever I finish this, I download it, I put it up on Spotify. So if you're the type who doesn't do the like the YouTube premium and stuff and you just listen to podcasts at work, you can listen to me on Spotify without having to have your phone unlocked the whole time. But you don't have the joy and the fun of me being able to interact with your comments as they're coming through. But if you are new here, if you're watching the replay, first time, whatever, give the channel a subscribe, give the video a like, share it out there for your friends to see, catch the replay either here on YouTube or on Spotify. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Hope you have a great rest of your week. And God willing, if my house doesn't get tented for termites again and I don't get displaced again, I will be back next Monday. I'm going to trying to get back on the every Monday schedule, but so far it's been every other Monday. But I appreciate y'all hanging out and I will see you next week. Cheers.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.